In this little segment, I'm just going to pop the woman a little bit more. So let's go back in now and let's just kind of put in our rich black. And also what is really cool is that she's so close to the vanishing point. I don't think I would want to have everything so perfectly centered because that would lead to like a little bit of like stiffness. But she's very close. Everything is converging like right to her head. And I could manipulate the branches to close in on her head as well. So it's definitely, you want to utilize perspective big time too to control like where we look. And it's not always going to work that way because sometimes it just doesn't line up. But you can do like these things where you would manipulate the cast shadows and the branches on the tree to help us like look at the main character. So everything in your image basically, this is an old school way of thinking. Now there are people who just start to work and things just kind of flow. Not everyone works the same way. I understand that. But it's nice when you go in and everything in your image kind of has like a purpose and there's no accidents. And as you go along, you'll have some like nice surprises that happen, and you'll have some happy accidents. But for the most part, you kind of want to like think it out like a little bit more, especially if like you're working and you're doing this professionally, because you're going to just be in that much more control. And if you're a professional artist, you're going to be doing dozens of images. So, you're going to get bored with yourself doing the same old composition, same old everything. If you can, if you don't try to like mix it up, and the way that you mix it up is by being in control. So you can deliberately kind of switch things around a little bit and, add some, variety in there deliberately, not have it happen by accident. Control is like a big thing. You're never going to be totally in control of your artwork. That's like that's fake to think that way, but you want to, go into it with as much control as you possibly can. All right, so now I blackened her out a little bit. I like it, and I'm pushing it like a little bit more. And I don't want to have her floating. I want to have her connected to her legs. And I could put like a little hint of like some eye socket over there, but I want to be careful. I don't want to muddy it up either because it's just a soft impressionistic type drawing. So I'm going to just press down a little bit harder here. Okay, cool. So I can clean this up with my eraser. I eventually could put something in this negative space, but for now I think I just want to leave it empty. Maximum effect. And let me just take this brush and get rid of those like eraser crumbs, and then what I can do is just go back one more time and press down nice and hard. Yeah, I'm going to make this really hard edge. So it's borderline. Now you're looking at the bridge, not necessarily her, but the bridge is so close to her that it's working. So the bigger thing trumps the smaller, and it's in the same vicinity. So that's what you want to remember. So what is this right here? It's this. Big time, it's that. And so let's try to like make like a little bit of like a mistake now. So let's say I put like a black right over here. Okay? So now if you're using like a really clean white border, you might look here first now. Because this is black against like your white border. So you want to be careful. As soon as I like blend that out and get rid of that, it's now you look back at the center. So I'm just going to punch this up. Now, okay, I talked about having you look first, second, and third. So now maybe I want you to look at the lamppost. Okay, so I'm going to punch this up. So right now I punch this thing up, and it's against a middle tone in the background, but I could cheat and I could put like a little light next to it. I can make it like it's on also, or maybe it's not necessarily on, but there's a reflection like hitting it from the sunlight, or even the top plane of it. Press down nice and hard with that eraser. The top plane would be catching light, and then I would have a nice sharp pencil, which I don't have, and just give it like a really rich black. Now the reason why we're not going to look here first is because I'm using thin line, the edges are really soft, and I can soften them even more, and it's not pure white. Okay, that's pure white, so that's more contrasty. So yeah, so now maybe if I even get rid of this a little bit more, that's like a little distracting, soften that. So you look at her first, this area first, second, and then maybe I can get you to look up top here. Because I'm going to punch this up, and I can have some like negative space, like through some like leaves. Okay, so now you're looking up top over here like a little bit more. And then I can lead your eye to this part of the page. So now I'm going to lead you down with a branch. And this branch isn't contrasty at all, but it's contrasty enough for me to like lead your eye. Okay, so maybe I lead you to this one, and then this brings us right back to the girl. So isn't that like very cool that you could think of your images this way, and not go into them and be like, oh God, I'm looking at the person's foot. You know, I remember when I first started doing illustration, you know, I would be doing these like young adult book covers, and so back in the day, you know, what was the hot thing but, you know, white sneakers and jeans. So everyone would come over, all the kids would come over with like the lightest sneakers, because their parents always would bring them to the photo shoot with like brand new clothes, brand new sneakers. They'd have like the darkest jeans, so the contrast would be at their feet. And I always had like the biggest issues with this. Like when I was starting out, I'd be like, oh my God, like you look at their feet first, and that's not cool. I wanted you to look like up at their head, because I didn't know how to do the value control yet. Now I was learning, and you know, there's a way to do that, and it really looks ugly. So, you know, I would put gray in the sneakers, and the sneakers would look like they were like dirty. And so there's a way to use certain cool grays and not warm grays to make it look a little bit more attractive. All right, so now I'm going to also put in, see how there's like all that texture on the stone? Whatever it is, if it's like lime or it's rust or it's like some kind of like mold in the shadow side, I'm going to also like have this branch come on down, punch this rail up, and I'm going to maybe use a vine or a crack in here, or just the darkness of the tint of each stone, and that will bring us to these like rocks. A little bit of a hard edge,